Hello everyone!
Right now, I'm in ministry, so I'm an author, speaker, coach, and podcaster. But I didn't start there. I actually went into medicine, teamed up with someone in Woodland Park. We actually started a church right down the road. It eventually morphed into a school, and then the Lord eventually called me into my own ministry. Whatever we're called to do, there will be grace for it. Marketing solves the problem of getting the product or service to the people that need it. The bottom line in life, in business, and everything you put your hand to is not money. It is love. In your relationships, it's love. In every area of your life, the bottom line is love, because the bottom line is a person.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Unlike Marketing. We are at episode 4 with guest, and today we have a special guest. We have Catherine, and Catherine is an author, speaker, coach, podcaster, retired physician. There's so much that we can talk about just by reading all her background skills, and I want her to introduce herself, to say hi to everyone.
Well, hello. I'm excited to be here. Thank you, Giuseppe. It's a joy to be here. Not sure what you want me to say about me, but I'm sure we'll get into it.
Yes. I'm also excited to have you, mostly because I have been following you. We've been working together for time, and I know what you do, and I really like what you do. And because of that, I won't actually start from that point. Like, I want you to present yourself, saying like, did you go, what you do now, how did you got there? Because, there's so many things you have done.
Sure. Well, I didn't start out. Right now, I'm in ministry, so I'm an author, speaker, coach, and podcaster. But I didn't start there. I actually went into medicine, which I practiced for multiple years, and then actually retired to be with my family. I always thought I would go back, but it wasn't actually something that was in my heart to do. It wasn't something that actually God had led me to do. It was my own bright idea to do something that I thought was important, because at what was really driving it is I was looking for significance. But I also had a heart to help people, which is very genuine, and also a keen intellect. I enjoyed diving into things. So I did internal medicine, which is, there's a lot of diving in and solving puzzles and solving mysteries. But after I retired, the Lord called me into ministry. And so I started that. I had a journey, because I had a lot of healing in my heart to do that was actually necessary before God was going to unleash me on people. And so did that, and eventually got into ministry, teamed up with someone in Woodland Park. We actually started a church right down the road. Oh, okay. And yeah, we did do that. We did that for many years. It eventually morphed into a school. And then the Lord eventually called me into my own ministry, which is kind of where I am today.
Okay, then, well, I'm also learning new things. Are you originally from Colorado, or? No,
I was actually from the Midwest. We moved around a lot, so it's kind of a hard question to answer sometimes. But I ended up in the Midwest. I was in Indiana, did my schooling there, did my training on the East Coast, and then met my husband eventually, and he was in the Navy, so we moved all over the place. It was funny. I prayed. I said, Lord, let me find this man, and we'll put our roots down. And he sent me a Navy man. So that's just what it is. And now we've been settled since 2006 in Colorado.
Okay, then when it started, because you say you started church up in Woodland Park.
Yes.
I was like, that when it was, like, or during what year?
So let's see, the church was launched. We came out here in 2006. We launched this church around in 2008, continued in various forms until, it's a very long story, but I don't want to belabor it. But eventually closed it down. I think it was 2015 when it actually morphed into a school that actually went online. So that's kind of how it happened.
And then, now you got me really curious about Woodland Park because, I mean, I moved here, probably the people that follow me, they know I moved here in 2021. That's many years after actually you start your church. And here, like, I can tell people in Woodland Park is already full of church. I would say, like, there are more church than people almost. It feels
Truly,
like sometimes.
yes.
Then, like, how was when you came first here? Like, because, I mean, there was no Charis Bible College.
Yeah, the Charis Bible College was down below. So I actually went to Charis for a year in night school. And somewhere during that time, it was transitioned up into Divide. And so we were kind of there with that transition, which was wonderful. We initially started in City Market over the grocery store. This little church over there. And it was cute because Andrew Womack came in one day to visit our church, and it was lovely. And he was adorable. He came out and says, "I really feel like I had church today." So it was great. And then we moved actually just, a couple blocks over on Henrietta. You know where that is, where it's a new church now, but it's that kind of Adobe-esque building behind Joanne's. So that was the building that we had used for years. It was a struggle. Doing a church is hard, and we were kind of experimental. So we would try a lot of things. We started off kind of as a worship center, and the person that was actually the apostle that really was the primary driver, Shalise Jimenez, she didn't want to start a church, but the Lord was leading her that direction. So we started with worship and soaking, and people would come. We ran healing rooms that were very successful. And then it morphed into a church. So,
and then now the question. I mean, the podcast, I like marketing. It comes natural. The questions like, okay, how did you leave the marketing for the church? You know, like it's probably you were like there were only few churches at that time. I don't think there were many churches like now. And how did you kind of like market your church? How did you bring the people in through this experiment? What did you saw was the best way to do it?
Well, we didn't do it really well because we were struggling quite a bit. We did flyers, and now we had a lot of success with healing rooms, and that would transfer. We had incredible things happen at our healing rooms, and they weren't just healing rooms. We also did prophetic words, which were very, very, very popular. We did prophetic art. We had the kids in there doing stuff. It was like a really big deal. We had a lot of traffic. And then that would refer people kind of to the church from that. We didn't market all that much. I think that was a real hole in what we did because, we struggled. I mean, it went well. And the people that came were loyal. It takes a lot, especially when you have a building and all that kind of stuff. And so I don't think we did it particularly well. I wasn't a party to the marketing piece, particularly in the beginning. But she would sometimes go out and speak, but that was usually in Chicago. So it didn't exactly draw the crowds up the hill to Woodland Park. Yeah. So I'm not sure I answered your question, but I'm not sure I have a lot to answer with. So we needed you. That's what the thing was.
My point of asking this question is literally to see the point of view of an owner. Like that can be a church founder or can be a business founder. That's really the idea. It's like, hey, at the end of the day, your problem can be many other people's problem.
Yes.
And a lot of time, the reason why we don't find solution is because we don't share our problems, and we don't share also what solution we found from that. And that's the reason why this podcast is here, because I don't want just to show people my side of what is marketing, because I live for marketing and I'm a part. Like, it's my services. Then obviously I want to sell my marketing. I'm always gonna tell like you need marketing, but I want to be sure. I want to show people like, hey, there is a way to get successful even without marketing, and there are people that have done, but there's a point in your life where you notice you will need it.
Absolutely.
Like there is not, you cannot keep going forever without, or you also will struggle. Maybe you don't reach the top performance. And with that, I was going to ask you, like, it just came to my mind, a lot of people, and we everyone thinks about that. We always say, oh, if God called me to do this, God would bring the people to the church. And I think there is a truth there, but also I think there is whenever God say in the Bible that we need to rest, he didn't say we need to rest out of work, but we need to rest in work. While we work, we rest.
From a position
From
of
a
rest.
position of rest. Then the same things I think is also when we start a business, a church. If God calls us to do that, it doesn't mean that we just sit and we wait. People
bring
come
them in.
Exactly.
Yes.
I think there should be still an active position for us where we go out looking for bringing people, giving value to people in a way, and not just because what was at least this is my side, and I want to hear from you. But what was the reason of Jesus telling the apostles, like sending 2 by 2 outside to spread the gospel, if God could have already sent all the people directed to Jesus,
This is true.
Jesus could have just be sitting in the same hill day after day and just be like, oh my God, you're going to send me new people. Well, he didn't do that. He was literally like walking around. And then when he got famous, yes, people start to come from everywhere to see him. But that was not the beginning. In the beginning, he was walking everywhere and meeting in each city, stopping, preaching, inviting people and sending other people out and then things. What do you think about that?
I think that's brilliant. I've never thought about it from a marketing perspective, but it completely makes sense. And when you think about it, the apostle is a sent one, right? So you're literally sent with a message or sent with something that you have something to bring. And so with that means you go out. That means you've got to engage with the public, which is, what is that? That's marketing, right? So.
Yeah, okay. Yeah,
I love that. That's brilliant.
Yeah, I wanted to see because you are I heard some of your sermon and everything. You are big on grace. Like you speak a lot about grace and you share like the love of God. In fact, one of your big major book is Marked by Love, one of your bestseller, and I want to hear your side of like how do you think grace has like what position has grace in marketing or what position has grace in business?
Yeah, so whatever we're called to do, there will be grace for it. So what God calls, he empowers, and that empowerment is a grace. And with that grace is provision, but God always operates in partnership. He operates with sons and daughters who partner with him to do whatever the projects are to reach the people, however that is. So there's always something we need to put our hand to, and there's a grace to put our hand to it, but it's not a grace that to sit on the couch and eat potato chips, right? And the people will come. No, the grace happens as we go out and do what we're called to do. So.
Yeah, thank you very much. And then going back to the love of God, like love of God is always expressed to on the side, like, okay, God loves you, loved from the beginning, you are saved and everything. But even that topic, I would like to kind of like expand with you. How do you see the love of God in business? Things like how that works in the business whenever you are stressed and depressed, and also like what would be something, a tips or something you would tell our listener that can help them going through their business journey or ministry journey.
Yeah. So I want to be clear that whatever God calls you to do is ministry, right? So business is ministry, marketing is ministry. It's all ministry as it serves people, serves God, but you really serve God by serving people. Jesus gave us, and this is where love comes in. So number one, God is the person of love. So love is actually a person, not just an emotion or not just a motive, but there is a motive behind it. And with that, the person of love, who is God, gave us one commandment that fulfills everything, which is to love as he loves. By this you will know, people, the world will know that you're my disciples. So that looks like something in every aspect of life. God is very practical. He meets us where we live. And business is a huge part of life, is a part that's necessary, and it is a ministry. And so we need products, we need services, we need people to bring their creative talents, and we need people to help us market. And so loving someone is doing what we're called to do in that realm well. So the area of business is huge. And if you're called to business, be very clear. It is a ministry. So this is you and Jesus, the person of love, called to present themselves to solve a problem. Business is all about solving a problem, even if it's just groceries. Well, it solves a problem of hunger. It solves a problem of feeding people. Marketing solves a problem of getting the product or service to the people that need it. And then also to undergird the business so that it can do what it's called to do. And so as we do whatever is put in our hands to do well, that is fulfilling the commandment of love. And there will always be a grace on it. That is why we need a bigger vision of what we're doing. Money is not the bottom line. Love is the bottom line. But we need money. And because God is love, He's going to provide the funds. He's going to provide the profit. And He's going to provide the profit, particularly as we steward well, so that we can love other people well with our finances. And so it all revolves around that in whatever arena that you're doing. And one of the things I really love about you, Giuseppe, if I can just tout you for just a moment, is that you really carry this. You're passionate about what you do, but you're passionate about what the customer's heart is, what they're caring to bring that out. It's not just, well, I'm doing this because we want to get it out because we want to make money. We do want to make money. I vote for lots of it for everybody, but that's a side issue. It's really undergirding the business that God is called. And see, I'm very clear that also what I do in ministry actually is a business. I have a business end, I've got a pure ministry end, but it's all ministry. And so supporting people in that and getting the word out, because my heart in ministry about the love of God and the grace of God and God who is the person of love that you are one with, that you're never separated from, who's leading and guiding you in every aspect of your life. If you care about it, He cares about it. And so with getting this message out to people, that is my heart. I want to get the message out, and I cannot do this unless I have someone to help me market.
Yeah, that's awesome. And say that part again. I like the one you say, like, love is love and not money. What you said, like,
the bottom line.
Bottom line is love and not money.
Yes.
Right. Yeah, that's it's powerful, and I want like everyone to write that down.
I can say that to the camera.
Yes,
if you
say
want
it, yes.
Okay, I'm laughing now, so I'll try to take myself seriously. Okay, the bottom line in life, in business, and everything you put your hand to is not money. It is love. In your relationships, it's love. In every area of your life, the bottom line is love, because the bottom line is a person.
Yeah, I mean, that's so powerful. And what's something that while you were saying that, it just sparkled in my mind. I was like, that's genius, because that's really what is branding.
Yes.
Like whenever people speak about brand, they say like, oh, the brand is like, what the brand does is like put you not as the hero, but put the client as the hero. And that's the main things is like, we always think that Jesus put himself as a hero. No, it's us we see Jesus as a hero, but he was never the hero. Like he sacrifices himself to make us the hero and for us to be saved. Like he was putting us as the main important person. He didn't came to the earth because he wanted to show off and be like, hey, look at how many people I can heal. He came to the earth because he was like, I need you to be up there. You know, like I need to give you a higher position. I need to take you to a better position. And he wanted, that was pretty much the branding of Christianity. Like that's what Christian is.
Isn't that beautiful?
Jesus never came to be a hero. Like he never wanted to be. He wanted to have us become a hero.
Absolutely. This is why God shares his glory.
Yeah.
And so we have this misconception that God doesn't share his glory. No, that's a misunderstanding and a cherry picking of only part of a scripture. But God shares his glory. He said that if we're tracking with us and him and us, that the glory that he carries will be the glory that will manifest in us. So this is all about the manifestation of the sons and daughters of God, which is an unveiling of the inherent glory that is in them and who they've made, who God has made them to be in his image and likeness.
Yeah, like actually, let's see. I think I have the Bible. I have a Bible verse for that. I mean, I used to read that, and I can connect pretty easy because I have that saved. Just a second, everyone. Is first no, it's not this. My bad. Is in Thessalonic, 2 Thessalonic 1:11, and it say in New King James, therefore we also pray always for you, that our God will count you worthy of this calling and fulfill all the good pleasure of his goodness and the work of faith with power. And then in verse 12 say that the name of our Lord Jesus Christ may be glorified in you and you in him, according to the grace of our God and Lord Jesus Christ. And that's the last verse where I say like what the purpose God has given to us is to glorify Lord Jesus. But he didn't stop there. He said that we are glorified in him. Like that in the same time, it's like an exchange. Like every time we glorify him, he's in front of us already pushing the accelerator and be like, I'm glorifying you first.
Absolutely. That's Romans 8, that those he foreknew, he called, those he called, he chose, those he chose, Wait, I think I got that reversed. Those he foreknew, he chose. Those he chose, he called. Those he called, he ordained. Those that ordained, he justified. Those he justified, he glorified. I'll scoot this a little.
No, so, you're
good. Talking with the hands, just like it's infectious, Giuseppe.
Right?
Yes.
But yeah, that's I think is so much powerful, and more I see that, more I can use to explain. I mean, if you take the love as a basic on business, you explain marketing pretty much. Like, if you don't know, right now I'm telling something for everyone, and this is worth you watching this podcast every time it comes a new episode, and it's like, you just need to put love in front. Whenever you think about like, hey, what is my message, or what are the people how I'm gonna connect to them, just put love first. How your product or your service is gonna love that person. You can write a message to that, like just explain how that is gonna love that person, and you have the message for your brand. That's pretty like simple. It's like literally showing how you can love people, and that's your market. Your marketing is pretty much there. Then yes, there are different ways to go. There is SEO, there is ads, but everything starts from the brand itself. If you don't understand who are you serving and what is your service?
Yeah, and that is kind of like the why. That is your motive, right? And then you have the what, and then you have the how.
Yeah.
And so the why doesn't change. It's always love.
Yes.
And so you loving the one is how you can show up in the business realm as a son or daughter of God who's being famous for what God is calling us to be famous for, which is for love. And you do that in a very particular way in your realm, in your niche, with your product and service, and then marketing that product and service, which is beautiful. Yeah.
And it doesn't matter if you're a believer or not believer. At the end of the day, whenever company you saw, even if it's company that they're not a Christian company or believer, like their message, their core value that they present to people is about what type of service I'm giving to you. Fast service, or like fast shipping. All these things at the end of the day is based on the idea of what I can do to show that I love that person, that I care about that person. I care about my customer. Oh, I care about my customer. I give you free shipping.
Yes.
And then people feel like, oh, wow, I saved from free shipping. It's kind of, they feel like they're loved, they're cared about. Yes. And that's the business.
Brilliant. And I love that too, because whether it's believer or non-believer, this is such a core value in humanity. Yeah. And so because of this, we don't have to worry about believer or non-believer. It is a core value in humanity, and it works because it's based on eternal values.
Yeah, it's true. And that's when people, they're trying to go away from morals and ethics. I'm like, you can't really go away, because in your human, as a human being, you are based with that. It's written inside of you. You need that. Like, you cannot say like, oh, I'm gonna do whatever I want, or like reality, I decide my reality and everything. No, because when you do that, you're gonna automatically you're gonna hurt someone else.
Yes.
If you're trying to do everything just for yourself and for the goodness of yourself, you're gonna hurt someone else. Now, like, there is no way to go around and say, there is no one way. Like, people say like, oh no, if we make everything okay, automatically we are not. People are going always get hurt, but like the reality is like, what is the truth at the end of the day? It's like we need to stay on the morals and ethics that help at least all of us be united instead of like break everyone apart. And that's I think like the difference between freedom and free will comes from that. Like, freedom is still based on love. Like, even if you're free, but you're not free to hurt.
No.
Where in free wills, like, free will, like, you are totally free to do whatever you want. Do you want to go and steal something? Go away. That's free will. No one can stop you. You can be wherever you want. You can do whatever you want. But in the end of the day, that's going to create all the chaos, because there is no value we are basing for. We're just
well, we're all created in the image and likeness of God, who is love, and so if we're violating love, we're actually violating who we are. And there's no way to get past that with our internal system. You can only suppress that for so long. So there's always a grace on being your authentic self, which will look like something unique, but will also look like the one who loves. And that's when you're actually living life. Because otherwise, why bother, right?
Yep, that's true. Also, where's the purpose of life at the end of the day? Like, sometimes, and in the past, I remember there was Romanticism, I think it was called, era on literature.
Romanticism.
Yeah, and that was all based about, everything was written with the idea everyone need to have a purpose for living. Like, and they can be God, they can be like a friend, they can be a thing. But you need to have a purpose. There is no way that you're going to live a life without and saying like, oh, I'm living for no reason. There is no way. Like, you cannot keep living. You're going to get in depression. You want to kill yourself. Because like, you need to have a purpose. And at the end of the day, other human being, they cannot be your purpose. Because everyone, the majority of people around you, they're going to sooner or later hurt you in somehow.
No, they're not designed to be a source. They're designed to be a conduit.
Exactly.
And so God ultimately is a source, whether we believe it or not. He is the source, and he moves through people. So that's why we're drawn to people. But he doesn't sustain anything less than God, who is love, will not sustain. It will not hold for eternity. So you make a person, you make family members, you make a cause, you make a career, you make a value. It's all going to fail you. That actually, which is a good thing designed for you, actually becomes an idol. And idols always fail us and leave us less than who we are. And so that's why you need something that is of eternal value. And so it's important to dig and find what that is and grapple with those deeper meanings, because that will hold. Yep. That will hold regardless of what the market's doing. It will hold regardless of what the planet's doing. It will hold regardless of what death and life are doing. It will hold for eternity.
Yeah, and mostly in business, things do not go always good. They don't always go how you wanted. Then sometimes money comes right away, and then they go out. Like, I mean, my that was my experience. Like, I started really high. I was like, whoa, that's really good. I'm getting so much in, and then like, I think, it was last year at this same time, May, I got like some of my big clients call, and they quitted all at the same time, and I was like,
wow, Jesus, what are we doing?
Yes, I was like, whoa, what's going on here? I was like, I had this plan. I'm going to Las Vegas in July. I already had the ticket to go in there. I'm like, now I don't have money. It was so hard. We had to move to a new apartment.
Oh, that's so hard.
All in the same month. And I was like, okay, God, what's going on? Where are you in all of these things? And at the end of the day, yes, if you don't have a core value, like something you're looking at, as your main source and everything that's God, you're gonna break down. Like money cannot keep you there. Like there need to be something stronger inside of you, and it's like what God, I call you, the purpose God has given to you. That's what keeps going.
Yeah, and that's beautiful. And everything else, I mean, God is so kind. He's love. He wants us to enjoy life. So all the other stuff, he said, yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
He richly gives us all things to enjoy. We're just not supposed to trust in uncertain riches, right? Uncertain things. But we're meant to enjoy them. That's what a good father does. And so he wants us to enjoy all those things, just not look at them as a source.
Yep.
Yeah.
I agree 100%. And then going from that, I mean, for people, if they want to go deeper in this topic, mostly about love and everything, you have a book that's called Marked by Love, and actually there's the launch, and for by the time this will be out, like people will be available on Amazon. They can find it on your website. We have in the new book that's Marked by Love, the extended and revised version. Can you give us like a bit of what it's about, what people can find, how they can benefit from them, and who should buy it?
Yeah.
Like who should be the person that need it? Like 1%, you need this.
Yeah. Well, thank you. The total hot button. This was actually my first book, and it's been so developing in me that as I grew in Revelation, there was some expansion that about 100 pages worth, so not just a minor expansion that I wanted to share. And so it's really about people that are really hungry for a deeper encounter with God as the person of love. Who is this God? And who is he, and what is his essence? I have it unveiling the essence of your true identity. So as we're hungering to know God, the real God, okay, not a religious God, but the real God, we're also hungering to know who we are. Because what happens as we get to know God intimately, he turns around and mirrors us back to ourselves. So we get to know who we are as humanity, but also very specifically, we're crafted as human beings in the essence of who we are. That looks like love, but it looks like our flavor. And this heals the human heart as we do this, because we've all had people that have damaged us, or maybe we've damaged ourselves, and we don't know who we are. The other thing that is connected with that is, and we alluded to it earlier, is your purpose. So when you were designed by a creator who adores you, who loves you, and crafted you in his image and likeness, the image and likeness of love, he also crafted you with a purpose that is unique. And I say that you are crafted for a purpose, and the purpose was crafted for you. So this is when something actually fits. And it takes a while. When we're growing up, we're trying to figure out who we are, and we get very confused, and a lot of things hijack that, right? And then we're trying to figure out, well, what am I supposed to do? Why was I put on the planet? What purpose was I born for? It will look like love, but it's going to look like something specific. So in each chapter, I have what I call love encounter breaks. This is where you journal, and I teach you how to connect with God in the way that you're wired, so that you can start to get this revelation of who he is, who you are, and then what is the unique purpose that he crafted you for.
Okay, then, I mean, it sounds like that it's not just something that you read, but you actually have ways to, step by step. There are steps inside to help you actually not just find the love of God or like understand the love of God, but also find your purpose and connecting in a deeper way with him. And I think like that's a great thing, because one point that I always notice with a lot of this book is that they're nice because it's a good read, but then like when I go back and I think about, okay, what I can really do to make it this effective in my life, sometimes I don't find that in the books. Like I have to go through and reread what he did and had to try to copy him, where like there are pages inside specifically for that, and that can be also a reason more for people to buy the physical copy, because they can have a way to kind of like journal inside, listen to God, write down anything that God tells them,
Absolutely.
And connect with them.
Yeah, and I teach people specifically how to connect with God, even if you're non-believer, if you don't really not sure, right? You can actually still connect with this person. He adores you, and so that's part of the beauty. So your relationship and your intimacy with God skyrockets. It's actually more transformational than informational.
Okay, wow. All right, that's good. You heard, everyone. It's transformational. Honestly, I don't have to do so much more marketing there. Like you heard, like everyone needs, I need that. We should everyone read, because I think even when we think that we know about God or we know the love of God, I mean, even the Bible says in Ephesians 3:14 that we cannot know the love of God. We need to, and even Paul was praying like, hey, can you, God, give me a deeper and wider and longer understanding of the love of God. And it's like, why he's keeping praying that? Because honestly, there is no end for the love of God.
There is no end. And that's part of the joy of it. You know, I have a quote that says, if you've gotten bored with God, you've disconnected with the most intoxicating person in the universe. He's someone who's fascinating and who's wondrous. And so it kind of holds you captive in, wow, pursuing him more, understanding him more, growing in the knowledge. Grace and peace is multiplied through the knowledge of God. And this is not head knowledge. It's experiential knowledge. This is about an encounter with someone who adores you. And you cannot help in that way then be transformed on the inside and be freed up to do the purpose that you were born for.
Amen. Yes, I agree 1%. That's awesome. And now moving from, I want to go back to the business itself.
Please.
And I kind of like discuss the experience in the business, because obviously we say we went from church to business. I mean, it's ministry, but as you said before, every business is a ministry. And how long have you been doing the ministry, and also what is included? What includes? Yeah.
So in 2016, that's actually when I first started out with my first book as an author, and then the Lord had me separate in my own ministry in 2017.
Okay.
So that's when I started the business proper, and that included not only books that have expanded since, but speaking. So that's a part of the business. And then I do a lot of coaching, and I can talk more about that as well. And I have a podcast. So those are the facets of the things that I do. Obviously, I have blogs and things, and there's a lot on my website that I invite people to investigate. But those are the main arms of what I do.
Okay. And then the question comes, like, I mean, you have been 2017, we are 2024. I mean, it's been not 10 years yet, but we're on the way.
We're getting there. We're knocking.
Yes, exactly. Then, like, how would you say in this time was, I mean, share maybe like one of your most exciting time, like what was the most exciting time during the business, and then also sharing one of your scariest time.
Sure.
Yes.
Wow, I wish you'd given these before. I would have given it more thought. But Jesus will just dive right in there. So, I mean, one of the most exciting times was literally when we got started. Honestly, when the Lord had called me into ministry, honestly, I was kind of burnt out on ministry. And so I was tired, and I was like, Lord, I will do this, but I need you to take care of my family, because I didn't want it coming out of my family side, and I need you to take care of the finances. And he has been very, very faithful. I mean, it was very fun to start off with the first book, because we had no idea what we were doing. And so that's always fun. And so it's just launching into the unknown, and we are being led and discovering new things and growing and really being stretched. And it's amazing how God made it work. So it was interesting, because when I did the first book, and that was actually the first version of Mark My Love, I actually kind of burped it out in a month, but it was about 20 years of revelation that boom came together in a month. So that was pretty fascinating. fast and furious, not usually how things flow. But that was actually very, very fun. I think there came a time in the ministry when I had some of my key team leaders, and I'm actually apostolic, so I'm an apostle, and if so a lot of it is it's not just about me ministering, but it's also raising people up and sending them out, because that's what you do. You reproduce what you do, and so what you are. And so there was a time when almost everybody was gone in my team, and so it was pretty much one other person and she didn't have a whole lot of passion. She had some good talent, and we were kind of in the doldrums. It literally felt like we're doing nothing, and when is this going to break through? And I knew it would, because what God calls, and sometimes, and this is one thing that is important to remember and to help, and this is apropos for your experience, there are seasons of pruning. And so a lot of times when you're doing well and then things get like, what happened? I lost my clients. I lost my team. Where did everybody go? Yep. Right? There are times of pruning. And so that is when you're digging deeper in the source in your source. And that is actually giving you the nutrients for an incredible upgrade, because you know that this is not going to, like, if someone's going to pull this off, it's not because you got the next brainchild. It is because you are going to get revelation with what the next thing is to do, but you're being taken somewhere, and it's an upgrade. It is a journey of faith, and that is a journey that is incredibly exciting. It's sometimes really scary, but when you're one with love who casts out fear, you're being ministered in that scary place. It's like, I don't know where we're going. I don't know how it's going to pan out, but it's going to be good. And so God is so faithful in that. So he brought us out of a pretty prolonged period of doldrums. I really believe we're entering into I know this year is a next phase of such an upgrade as well. So I'm really excited. I was excited when I brought you along, Giuseppe. And so, so those would be my answer to that question.
Okay. Yeah, that actually, yeah, I can totally say 1%. Looking back on that time when I had that, losing a lot and hard time, 1%. It was funny because we never really... There were so many things happening that we were still able to go anyway in vacation, Las Vegas. I mean, I tell people that's from the beginning, because when I moved here in Colorado for Cares Bible College, I moved from Europe, from Switzerland. And for who knows how it works, like, you cannot work here in U.S. Like, you come here, you only can study, you cannot work, you cannot make money. You just, what remains for you is just God. That somehow is really good for people. I feel like even the people from the U.S., they should learn to be in a place where they're forced to not work. Because at Caris, I met so many people from Germany, from Italy and everything. They would do better in finances than people from the U.S. that they go working. Wow. And I'm like, how this is even possible? I'm like, we are not making money. We are not doing anything. But the reason was we didn't have other choice. Like, when you have another choice, there can be jobs, so there can be a side solution. We tend to go away from God and be like, I can try to grab my prosperity from there. Yeah. Where, like, if you're sitting home and you're like, hey, I cannot work, I cannot do that, and literally the only person you can speak to is God. It's like, hey, God, can you pay the paycheck, or can you send me a payroll monthly? Then he's going to take care of it, and he's going to do it. And same things in business. I feel like that time, I agree with you, like, was like God was preparing us, because we were really good at taking care of our clients, but we're not taking care of our own business. Quarata Consulting was not, I wasn't doing nothing. We were not taking care of the website, and we were not doing really marketing for our own business. And once we went down, I was like, okay, the only things left during this time, these 3 months, is like, well, I'm just going to work on my business at this point. Like, I don't have... And there I learned how to create automated process, learn more how to work with my team, how to speak to my team. I think it was a really inside growth.
Yeah.
That's the foundation of a business at the end. Like
It
every
is.
business need the foundation to be strong, and the foundation is the team, is your message, is your website and everything. Before you can even give your service or product to another person, you have to make your foundation strong.
Yeah, that's brilliant, because when you lose it, you kind of have to go deep to your source. And so what God was doing was building you up, and he always works from the inside out. And that is sort of paralleled in what you did, because I don't have a bunch of clients that I'm marketing for right now. So I am going to improve me, and I'm going to improve my business, my brand. So what happened is you created a foundation. So you upgraded. So then when you came back and the clients started coming, you were already upgraded and could hold. I'll put a religious-y thing on it, but it's not going to sound gross, but a greater weight of glory. You could handle more products, more services, represent more clients, and do it more seamlessly because you had this work done. And so there's always a positive. If things are looking like it's going backwards, God is up to something. To even if it's didn't come from him, he can make it work out so that you come out the other side upgraded.
Yeah. And I think it's actually a blessing. I tell people, and you can tell me like what you think about that. But I think it's actually if you give yourself to God and be say like, hey, God, correct me, teach me, and totally give yourself, be like, hey, it's fine. Even if I don't like this time, like, give me the bad time anyway. And it's not really bad time, because in the end of the day, we were able to eat. We had a room, we had a house and everything. When I say bad time, God never got us to be like homeless, like never even close to be that. That's why when it's really, I don't like when people think about, oh no, God might give you our time to go through homeless. No, it's not God. It means you didn't really understand 100% who God is, because if you understand who God is, he doesn't because if you give food to the bird every day, give everyday bread while you're going hungry. There is not means that you're just looking at the wrong God.
Right.
You're not looking at the
You're missing something somewhere.
Yeah, you're missing somewhere. But apart of that, I would say there is like a place where God need to, for example, even this winter from January, there was some transformation in the business. And again, I saw that we had like few months where we kind of like, we didn't really went. We were kind of going exponential from August to December, really exponential. Then like we now went almost in a plateau, and May we started actually. May start with a great kick. And but the same things was also that time was I saw God be like, hey, I need to prepare you for the kick.
Yes.
Because if I give you all of this in once, but you are still in the condition you were in January, I was in January, I would have been struggling now to take it.
And that's what a loving father, we're talking about God is love. Yeah. That's what a loving father does. He doesn't give you more. Now he has more for you, but he needs to develop us. This is what I call being unveiled as a son and daughter of God. You're being unveiled in who you are to a higher level from glory to glory to glory. And so that you can sustain, you can carry it. If it wouldn't be a blessing to a 4-year-old to give them a Lamborghini. They just can't handle it, right? But he does give us more, but he develops us. So a lot of times the question, a good thing to ask the Lord when things seem like they're going backwards, like your business is being cut back. Jesus, what is there a need of to develop in me in response to this setback?
Yeah.
And it could be, sometimes you're just being broadsided by things you have no control over, but there's something God can develop in you. That can be patient endurance. That can be peace in the middle of a storm. Yeah. That can be, we need to overhaul our processes, overhaul our website. Yeah. We need to overhaul our ability to connect with the customer, whatever that is. And so God has something in it, and because he's always a good father, there's always a way through, and whatever that struggle is, that lack is, it will come to an end. But we want to make sure that we're doing the growth, because you are actually more important than your business. And it's your development and your unveiling as a son and daughter, your growth as a son and daughter, your maturity. I'm just saying the same thing different ways. As a son and daughter of God, that is the thing that shows up on the planet to bless the world. And so this is a constant thing that we're doing. And we're not being, I want to be very clear, we're not being developed because we're not good. We're being developed because we are so good that staying stagnant is actually going backwards, right?
Yep.
Because you look just like God, just like love in your flavor.
Yeah, and then he wants you to be prosperous, like to prosper in every part of your life, wealth, health, any part of relationship, every part of your life need to be prosperous. But that comes only through some type of pressure. Like you need to be pressurized, and like I always use the things like different between stress and pressure. Pressure is like a stress under control, because like if you control stress and you get on the same side, that's what God does. He's never put you in stress. He put in a certain pressure because he want to make a diamond out of you. That's why, like, he's taking who you are and everything with all this little like dirt and everything on the side. He's like, I have a purpose to you that looks like a diamond, but you need to take some pressure. And obviously, he goes with your time. Like, if you ask him to go fast, he's going fast. If you ask him to go slow, he will go slow. It's all up to you how much you can take the stress and everything. He will never. And I always says, we need to be careful of the word we speak, and we really need to look at ourselves and think like, hey, am I really ready to take a lot of stress, a lot of pressure right now, all in once, or not? Because I learned that it's been about 3-4 years that I've been saved. And I learned that because I always been a fast person. From the beginning, I was like, God, I need to go fast. I need to go fast. And he was like, I can do that. But before even starting, he showed me a picture of like a desert, and was all black, all desert. Like there was a desert storm, and the only things that literally like I could see was like in front of me. Like only where the things in front of me, there was no storm. Like all around me, everywhere, I could not see anything. And God says like, can you handle this? Yes. If I put there, can you handle it? And I was like, yeah, I'm handling this. And then like I got there, and I was like, I was crying. I was like, I
can't handle this.
Where I'm going. And he was like, and he showed me the picture again during last summer. And I was like, adorable. You remember what I showed you? You say you want to go through that. I was like, it's true, I say that. Okay, fine. Fine. Okay, I'm taking this. Okay, it's fine. But that's kind of like also the cool things of the Holy Spirit. He reminds you. Like there are things that you say or things that God shows in the beginning, and don't be afraid. Speak with him. Even when it's hard, I think.
No, and that's when you need to speak with him the most. And so, and just just to help, if you're going through that hard time, if you're going through that lean time, lean in to find out what God is doing. Have him show you. He's not the one that is causing you pain. He's not that one. He's the one that's going to help you navigate through the painful things. So lean into whatever God is showing you, whatever process he's doing. It doesn't feel good, but the results are incredible. And then what comes out is an upgraded version of you that can handle the growth of a business or the growth of a ministry or the growth of whatever we're talking about. And that's just wisdom. That's just wisdom.
Yeah. And then that we spoke wisdom, and the beginning of wisdom is the fear of the Lord. I always want to have this question, mostly for people that they are centered on the love of God, that they tend to preach more the great. How do you connect the love of God with the fear?
That's easy. That is so good. That's such a great question. Well, number one, if we think of fear in terms of danger, of a threat, okay, so that's not what we're talking about with the fear of the Lord, because the word is very clear. The opposite of love is not hate or apathy. The opposite of love is fear. Perfect love casts out fear. That would be a threat, a danger. When you are being handled by God, it is not dangerous in terms of harm. Now, sometimes you go through things that will not feel good, but they're not harmful. So growth sometimes is painful, but he will never, ever harm you. So we need to be very clear. So that's that portion on fear. When we're talking about the fear of the Lord, they should actually take that word out and put reverence and awe. It's as if you have 5 billion gigawatts of love and goodness and power and truth and light, and we're encountering it through our little 2-watt brains. That's pretty overwhelming. That is where, like, oh, you're God, I'm not. You might be smarter than me. I'm going to yield to that. Okay. And so that's what that is. It's a reverence for God. God is smarter than you. Sometimes we get our own, I was kind of teasing. I said when we're in this sort of a down season, and we're like, we need to get out of that. How do we get out of that? We need God's wisdom. We don't need our own brainchild. That's how we go around the mountain over and over. We come up with what seems good to us. And it's but when we're leaning into the wisdom of God, He knows exactly how to get you through on the other side. And it takes humility. So the fear of the Lord, the reverence of the Lord, is about you being humble. And be able to receive from this gazillion watts of love and goodness and truth and light. And this is where you encounter God and like, whoa, it is overwhelming in such a good way. That is how you come out transformed. This is looking at God as in a mirror, right? And in that place where we're being transformed, or another word is transfigured into His image from glory to glory to glory. You're looking just like Jesus in your flavor.
Yep. Awesome. That's well, for everyone, if you never understood what was the fear of God, like here, we have it. Share with all your friends right now. Just for this part, we should share with our friend, because I think like the fear of the Lord is something that people misunderstand so many times.
So many times.
And and they get scared. They get like, oh, he's gonna kill me, or if I do something, I'm like, wait. That's not what fear means. Not that fear. Like, I mean,
it's reverence.
It's exactly it's the awe of God, and it's funny because. I asked the question because the way God took me out from that month's things, He actually He showed me, He put me to focus on the fear of God. Like, He was like, I want you, was August last year, was like, I want you to start to learn about the fear. And I was like, why you want me that? I mean, I was like, I already had the knowledge about like, hey, this is, it's not the real fear, it's about irreverence and everything. But then, and He was like, no, I want you to focus on that. I want you to understand, like, to live in a place where you reverend me, or you see me so big, where anything else up in your life, it's gonna be small.
Exactly.
Like, micro. And it's like, and that's where things is like, all the other fear in your world, like the fear of not having more, the fear of not having client, the fear of when you look at God, you have your God in front of you. Focus on how big is how the reverence, and you say like you're like that problem is like okay, you stop seeing it. Like when the fear of God is the priority, is the top there, and like all the other fears, they don't leave, they don't have space to.
Absolutely, I like to say God is the big A answer that showed up before the little P problem of the fall. See, even before the fall, He was the Lamb that was slain from the foundation of the world. So in some mystical way, He even had that covered. And so anyway, so absolutely. So God, being who He is not a punisher. He never leaves. He never forsakes. Yep. He is the one that always loves. He will see you through. And when we're focusing, and I do talk about this in the book, whatever we focus on magnifies. And if we're focusing on the problem, it's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger, and fear is just going to go off the scale. When we're focusing on God, the one who loved you and gave Himself up for you, who gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and all of a sudden, where'd the problem go? And He has solutions. It's not like He's not, and He cares about your pain. He's co-suffering love. So in your pain, He suffers. If there's a loss, He suffers with you, and He knows how to bring you out of that. And He's just present. And that is something that helps us get through the hard times. Yeah,
amen. 100%. Now, my question would be, during, and we're going to go to the end, but the real I want to get an idea because, you had a church, you have ministry, like you had pretty much 20 years of be by yourself running something. About 20 years, even more. How you would say, what is your idea of marketing now? Like on the progress, how, maybe even sharing if you can, like how the idea of marketing changed for you from when you started to now, and where are you now with that? Like, what you have learned in this year?
Yeah. So I would say when I started out in ministry, I was one of those people. If God calls us, he'll bring the people. And then we'd show up. We had encounter weekends, which were incredible, but we'd have like 20 people, right? And, so it wasn't working really well. So I started from that. And one of the things that I have learned is that you do need to be intentional, and then you also need to be open to trying things in a new way. And I think sometimes what happens is we get stuck in the ditches of how we used to do it, but it's a world that changes so fast. But when you think about it, if your primary focus is love, that means you're attentive to the people that you're serving. Yeah. And if you're attentive to the people that you're serving, that means what's going to reach them. It's not about, I nailed it. This is how it worked. This is how we've already done it. What's wrong with everybody? It's how are we going to reach that? What's going to mean something to them? Mm-hmm. So really understanding your customer, really understanding what you actually have to offer, and then being able to verbalize it in whatever format, and in new formats that maybe it's like, whoa, that took me out of my comfort zone, but this is good. I'll get comfortable after a while. And so I think those are the things that have been impressed upon me in my growth.
Oh, awesome. And then how you would say, because I think it's important to identify the fact that marketing or business journey is not made to be alone, but it's always, you have to have a team. Like you want to have people helping you. There are people with different skills, like even when God built the ark, or even the ark, I would say, like the temple the first time and everything, he pointed to Moses, to specific people. Like this person knows how to play music. This person knows how to craft wood. This person how to work metal, and like he had like specific people pointed for work. It was never told Moses, "Hey, I'm giving you this business that's building my temple, and you do by yourself." Yes.
You become the metal worker and the worshiper and the whatever. That is a fast track to failure and burnout. Mm-hmm. So, and even if you could do it, sometimes people are gifted and they can do a lot of things, but it is that will lead to burnout. Who wants to sustain that? So, absolutely, having a team, having the people that God is bringing to you, because He's the one that'll call in your team, and that is actually when things work, because we want to work with one heart for the same purposes. We're not working for a paycheck. We need a paycheck, and God will provide. We need all of that. We call in lots of it for everybody, yes, but that's not the primary purpose.
Yep. Man, in fact, like one thing I was studying, and I think God is speaking to me even more about that. And it's like whenever you create a team, because my team is growing, and I have to understand how I'm gonna take care of all these people together. And God was telling me, like, you don't bring people together through law, but you bring people together through values.
Yes.
If everyone understands the value of the business, what are the values that you want to give through the business, they're going to follow you, and they're going to be able to automatically change and do things in a certain way because they understand the value. If you give law to them, everyone is going to do, because they're always waiting for a new law. Like, there is no law for how to do these things, then I don't know how to solve this problem. Where, like, if you tell them there's a value behind. And one example, I think, of company that have done that amazing good, Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A based everything on values. Like, customer is, like, their value is like, okay, customer is the front of everything. We need to treat customer good. Means that if there is no, let's say happened something and the customer some fries they're not good enough and everything, and a customer comes and say like, hey, this fries the thing, they don't even have to ask for a manager. They already take the things and change and give you new fries. Same things also Starbucks does. Even if it's not Christian, Starbucks does the same things. Customers the center of everything. Like you go every time I go to Starbucks and I say like, hey, I want to try a new drink. I'm not sure if it's good. Before I even make the drink, they're like, don't worry, try the drink. If you don't like, we're gonna make a new one, different one. Like they have this, and
that keeps you coming back. That'll keep you coming back to Starbucks when it won't get you going somewhere else.
Exactly. It's more but it's based on value. They didn't give law. There is no law. Like if you look at behind how they work them, there is not, when you go through the training, there is not a law where it says like, if they ask you for replacing the burger, you need to check this. If you ask they didn't give like a full of law. They just said the customer is our priority. Treat the customer good. Good. Check.
There we go.
How I make my customer a priority. If he's not having a good a good experience. I'm gonna make something that make the experience better. No, it can be like, hey, get how many sauce you want. Like Chick-fil-A is like, hey, they used to throw package of like Chick-fil-A sauce in the package. It's like, just have it, And that's the idea. Is like, I think that's the amazing way to grow, and God is showing more and more. It's like, you have to create values. Like value you stand for and you want the business standing for, that's what you're going to give to your team. And automatically they will not need you to solve problems. They already know that they already have values, and as long as they follow their value, they're going to be able to work with customers, work internally, and they're going to be peace.
That's beautiful. And then it also brings meaning to the business, right?
Exactly.
Right. You're not just there to do whatever. So that's beautiful.
But that was something amazing, and I think it's I said, wait, I forgot this connection. That was something I was saying from what you were saying, your growth and everything. Also, when coming back, when you say like some people left, new people came, like this happen all the time, and but if your value doesn't change, you can always bring good people.
Yes, absolutely.
And you can make people good. Then, since we are at the end of our program, it was a pleasure having you here. We had a great time. I really love to speak about love. I think that should be the center of for everyone thoughts about God and about themselves. But with that, I would say, whenever it's about business marketing, what are some tips or takeaways that you think you would give to other people that they are starting? Like you say, like it took me 5 years, like 7 years, and to learn this, and I want you to give it this right now in the way that you don't need to go through that.
I think the first thing, and it's a little more substantial, but I think know your value. And I think sometimes when we don't know our value, we won't be able to communicate your value. We need to know our value. We need to communicate our value. And we need to communicate it to the group of people that it's aimed for. That it's the ones. You asked me, who needs to get your book, right? Yep. And so we're able to hone in like these are the needs that it solves, right? So you communicate your value. You communicate it to the people. And we have to be very clear what that is, because sometimes we start in, it's like everybody needs this. Well, that may be true, but there's specific segments of society that this will really resonate with. And when people are able to resonate with that, it has something greater than just another product, just another pitch, there's something that resonates, that draws them. And that's really a God thing, but it resonates with them, and that pulls them to purchase your product, to purchase your service, to purchase your course or whatever that is. And so those are the things that I would recommend. They're a little bit more foundational and less how-to. I look to you to bring the how-to. But in terms of how we position ourselves and how we're going to look for the next sort of level of how we market to our people.
That's awesome. 1%. Well, we come back to what we were saying before. The love of God is just think about like how I'm gonna love my customers, and then that's gonna also build your core values, what you offer, what you want and don't think about the product, because yeah, you have a product service you want to offer, but actually what experience that product of or service is offering to people. Is the
Yes.
experience that you want to focus on. Is not like what is the product, but what experience that product creates for people. That's what you're selling at the end
Yes.
of the day. And that's, yeah, you heard, I think, for everyone, I really suggest to go back and to listen everything again, because this is has been, there is so much information about love of God, the fear of God. There's so many things that we have unpacked, and so much power in this. I really felt multiple times, really, God was like, whoa, we are speaking the right things. We are saying the right things. I want to thank everyone to be here. I want to thank Catherine to be part of my podcast, to sharing all this, her knowledge, her experience about love of God, about business, about ministry, with all of you, with me, but with all of you. And do you have some last word you want to say before we close?
I just feel like the Lord wants you to know His value for you, because we cannot value ourselves until we know that we are valued by the one who sees 2020. And in that, God is going to bring out the gifts, the talents. Your greatest contribution is you being you, showing up as you on the planet with what God put inside you and releasing that to the world.
Awesome. Amen. Everyone receive it. Anyway, we are gonna also I want to tell everyone, if you wonder what is her website, CatherineToon.com is her website. You can find her on Instagram, any social media you can find there. But we also are gonna leave her information down in the description below. Then just check it out, and you can click and go to see her book, buy her book, her new book. And thank you very much. Be again with us. Grazie mille, if we want to hear in Italian. And have a great day. Bye.